Hello and welcome to the universe of Beyer watches and jewelry, where the past meets the future. Being the oldest watch retailers in the world, we were founded in 1760 and are still privately owned in the same family in the 8th generation, now headed by Beyer. We connect people of all kinds of interest due to a fantastic watch museum, our more than 50 years experience with vintage watches, and our modern collection of some of the world's best known brands such as Patek Philippe, Rolex and others, but also with jewelry. Our watch of the day is a minute repeater made by IWC. The history of IWC started in 1868 when the American watchmaker Florentine Aristo Jones came to Switzerland in order to combine Swiss watchmaking knowledge with modern production methods. His ideas were opposed in the French part of Switzerland, but then Jones met the watch manufacturer and industrialist Heinrich Moser, who had built Schaffhausen's first hydroelectric plant and supported Jones to settle at Schaffhausen as well. Thus, Swiss quality watches were produced and shipped over to the US to be sold. Already close to bankruptcy, the Rauschenbach family took over in 1880 and kept it for 4 generations. In 1888, Beyer started selling IWC timepieces and is still one of the oldest retailers of IWC. Now back to the watch. IWC is known to have created numerous well-known movements and watches. This minute repeater shows the skill and knowledge needed to produce such a watch. It belongs to the family of Portuguese watches that started out in the 1930s. As the name suggests, 2 Portuguese merchants were asking for very precise watches with a big diameter. The first ones were pocket watches that perfectly met the requirements. In the late 1930s, the first wristwatches followed, still featuring a big diameter that this model kept until today. The dial in such a big watch has much space, especially as there is next to no bezel around it. In reminiscence to the good old times, the company's name is written in full, International Watch Company. This was typical for their watch faces until the 1960s. The numbers are raised golden Arabic numerals that are typical even for the Portuguese today. On the outer rim of the dial, we can see a nicely pearled minute track. The hands are golden as well and are elegant and fairly simple losange hands. At 9 o'clock, small seconds are to be seen. The 42mm case is made of yellow gold and the case is open, secured by a sapphire glass back to see into the beautiful movement. On the side is a lever to activate the chiming. With the help of 2 gongs, a lower and a higher pitched one, the time is to be heard. The lower gong is for the hours, the double strike on both gongs sounds the quarters, and the minutes are presented by the higher gong. As with every minute repeater, this mechanism is a unique piece made by only the most skilled watchmakers. It may not be the loudest of all, but nevertheless a very nice and melodic version. And since it takes quite some time to create such a mechanism, this series was limited to 250 pieces. The movement, as you can see, is the manual winding caliber 95-190. It beats at 2.5 Hz and has 54 joules and a power reserve of about 43 hours. Even this was inspired by the pocket watch caliber 95. Quite interesting is the relatively big and impressive balance wheel that takes up a fair amount of space in the movement. The minute repeater mechanism was designed by Renaud et Papy, put together with an inspiration of an old but reliable pocket watch movement. It's also here where the fusion of past and present meets, making this watch part of the high horlogerie. The full service was made in October 2022 with a replacement of the hands and the plexiglass. The case was also polished. Then, in August of this year, the movement was again checked by IWC and adjusted. The watch comes with the extract of the archives. For those who like big size watches and are especially in love with minute repeaters, this would be a perfect watch for a relatively small amount of money. Being passionate about watches also means that we take great care of our timepieces even after they have been bought. We are an official Rolex service center, but also service the other brands we carry. Apart from that, we also have beautiful jewelry made by our goldsmith. We have a big assortment of older and more modern pre-loved watches. Visit our website or Beyer Vintage at Instagram. And thank you for watching.